YouTube? Happy Sunday. Dan Matheny here. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about Niri and Mangowc Wayland Compositor. So, first up is Niri. And this is my config of Niri now. So let's go ahead and vim.config Niri config.kdl. Yeah. And obviously, I realized that the input I was doing was wrong for the monitor, so I had to change that. Anyway, I have, made some changes, obviously, and I like the natural scroll. So the mouse is still the same, trackpad's still the same. I didn't turn it off, but I don't cuss. I just leave that alone because it works fine. And the output, was commented out. I had to uncomment it, but that's not it. Also, I had to change the mode to, because I'm just using a laptop. That's my workflow. I don't have multiple monitors, but I understand the scale is 1.0 because that's what I prefer. And, transform is normal. And, I have it focused to startup, and I have a variable fresh rate if needed. So in layouts, I have gap set at 14. I didn't change that. And center focus, never. So I actually want to change that to always. So we're going to change the setting on here today because I want to center. So let's change that now. There we go. On the fly. That's what I like about Wayland compositors. Like when you make changes, it's usually on the fly that it happens. And, that's what I prefer because that's what I have in Mangowc Wayland Compositor. So anyway, I have the focus ring off because I don't want just one border. I want two borders. So, but I have, made a couple changes. So, but, there's a lot of ways colors can be set. And, there's a couple different things I have. So, when you come to here, it shows the active colors and the inactive color. But anyway, I have an active gradient. That's what I decided to use. So works to pace in view, or works pace view dash view, I should say. So I like what I have going on here. So, I could switch windows and then, of course, I can come back to it and whatnot. But yeah, it's different, because one of the ways you switch workspaces I'll talk about when we get to Mangowc WC, but it just makes me think, window key and the arrow keys are how you switch windows, with Niri. So, and Super F to make it a full screen, Super F again to make it normal. But anyway, I'm still going through this, but yeah, the softness controls for shadow blur radius is fine. But yeah, I have shadow on. So, but you can comment it to keep it off if you don't want it, but I like having shadow. So, but I could change the struts if I wanted to. I still just am happy with how everything is. And I was running the Noctilia shell, but it seems like every time it updates, something always happens and I have to change it. And You know, it's not that I wasn't using it, but I wasn't. It was hard to configure certain options, and it still would say Tokyo, and I'm trying to change the weather. So, any tips on the Noctilia shell weather controls would be great. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But I'm just using Waypaper and Waybar. And, you know, my W bar, I changed some settings in here so that I could, you know, but the bar is basically, you know, Derek Taylor's bar. You know, that's what it is. But I modified it and I wanted it on the bottom. So all my window managers, my bars are on the bottom. So, you know, that's just how I like it. But, you know, I'm very happy with Niri. Prefer no CSD. That's if you don't want the borders, you know, on the top here. You know, it has the X minus and full screen. If you want that, so, but basically, I can take a screenshot if I want to, and yeah, so my window rules are still the same. I didn't make any changes, except for this. I'm gonna make this brave. But actually, you know, with the browsers, right quick, it's it's really a tie between the two. I really love both of them, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But anyway, I still have it the same for my programs right here. So I got the geometry quarter radius at 12 for my window rules. And of course, I still have this, you know, for the overlay. I love that, you know, because I can look and see what keys do what, and I really like that. So not everybody does, and I still have it at startup, so I can see what to do. But anyway, I still have it to where it's fuzzle and alacrity, because that's what I like to use. So, but this raises the volume if I want to raise the volume. But I don't really need to raise the volume right now. And I can change the brightness, but that you can see on the screen that the keys work for me. So that makes me happy. But yeah, the toggle overview is one feature I really love. So of course, you know, I can go to my windows. I can change the how they work. But yeah, I love the overview. I certainly do. So, but I will go back. But Mod Shift X is what I use to close Windows, which is the Super Shift X keys. And you know, everyone has their own way of closing Windows, and that's what I prefer. So, but yeah, that's the same as the H, J, and K keys. Like if I were to move window or move J down, K up, L right. But yeah, my control left is move column down. So yeah, it doesn't move this window, but it kind of moves everything around. And yeah, I don't have a home button. So, oh yes, I do have a home button. There you go. But yeah, so I'm very happy with Niri. I don't know, it's hard. It's hard because I really like both Wayland compositors here. So, but I think I have scroll enabled. Like if I go right here, I have it enabled. I think I did. Wait, no, that's the other, but that's what I get for working with two. Oh yeah. So of course, mod control moves, different windows to different workspaces. Like for instance, this is 1, so if I wanted to move it to 4, I can move it to 4. But I'm just going to go ahead and move it back to 1. So that's how that works. I'm just showing this again because, I'm also going to show my my Mangowc, but there's a lot of different mods and there's a lot of different keys for a lot of different things. But yeah, move bracket left or move bracket right. Yeah, that's these keys right here. So that's what that is. But yeah, that's basically if I wanted to do that. So but yeah, mod period expels them out. But there's a lot of different window options, and that's what I like. You have a lot of different ways to organize your windows in Niri, and that's what makes it unique. And so yeah, I love the animation, so if I want to make this full, I can. So we'll go ahead and make that full. But yeah, I'm still learning, but I'm just showing, how the keys work. So I have a print SR button, and that's how I print my my screenshot whenever I do take a screenshot. But anyway, Faye the dog is probably going to be approaching me here. Well, maybe not. Okay, so anyway, that's going to be it for Niri. Anyway, I will see you here in a second in Mangowc. All right, and we're back. This is my Mangowc setup. So of course, there's different layouts, with different windows, like you got tile right here, or I have it customized. So I'll just show it. Anyway, with scrolling, I have it centered, just like Niri, So, and so the keys are to go through, or Alt and arrow is moving the windows around in Mangowc. So that there's different options you have with each window, and I have the blur effect on, as you see, so you can tell it's a little blurred. I really like that effect, and I know one of my favorite YouTubers doesn't like compositing Anyway, he likes everything to be 1.0 peak. So, but I'm sorry about that. It's just how I like things to be. But anyway, we'll go ahead and just leave it here. I'm going to vim.config .mango. I mean, not .mango, but /mango /config.conf. And anyway, I have blur layer 1. So basically, you turn on different things and different effects, and that's the cool part about this. You have a lot of different options with things, and new is master stack layout. Yep, use new is master. I have smart gaps in there for master stack. So that's my layout for master stack. So I'll go to that right quick. I'll just show that right quick. What that does is, you got smart gaps. So it's full screen when I don't have, everything, or almost full screen, but not quite. But then, I have smart gaps enabled. So that's how that works for that. So I'll go ahead and switch back to workspace 2, where I have my configs. So the overview settings for hot area size is 10. Enable hot area 1. So I like that I can turn on OV tab mode if I wanted to, but I just have that off. And no border when single, I don't have that on because I don't want that on, but I've thought about it, since sometimes I like having everything at a full screen. So sloppy focus is on. I like my mouse focus, and keyboard. The repeat rate is 25. The repeat delay is 600. Numlock on 0. The KB rules are on, and trackpad, I don't have it disabled. I have it tap to click. So, I can tap it to click, and I have natural scrolling, so that means I can scroll the windows. So if I go like this, I can scroll with the mouse. So we'll go ahead and scroll back. Well, it's still work in progress. There we go. So, yeah, that's because I'm trying to do it from a different way. Anyway, I'm still working on appearance here, because as you can tell, the windows are just one color. I'm trying to get it to where it's 2 colors for different windows, but nothing is working as far as I can see. But that's something I'm still working on for my config, but I'm happy with it. But anyway, here are the different layouts I have. There's a lot of layouts that you have that go beyond, these. It even goes beyond here, because I've played around with different ones. I have right tile enabled, as well as vertical tile, and I just have tile at the end. But you have a lot of different options for a lot of different layouts for Mangowc, and that's pretty awesome. So it's really a tie. But I'll talk about what my thoughts are in the end. So, but anyway, exit is super M to quit. I have super space to spawn fuzzle, and alacrity is super enter. That's what I have. Super return is the basic default, and the super tab will focus on the next window. So super tab or it'll focus on the next workspace. But anyway, let's get out of there. It'll bring all those windows to the next workspace, which is what we don't want, but that's okay. Alt left, go to the next window, or Alt down or Alt up. But I do have vertical scrolling, so it's the same thing where it centers the window. So I'll go to vertical scrolling right quick, just to show, the keys right quick. But anyway, that's going up and down. But anyway, let's go to vertical scrolling here, and let's open up some windows. But yeah, it still centers. So that works, and I can bring that into the other workspace if I wanted to. The Alt tab just kind of shows all your tags, or all your different stuff in different places. Just kind of like the overview, but I like the in a grid. But I like Niri's overview the best. So, but I'll talk more about the comparisons towards the end. But anyway, I just wanted to show that right quick and show that you can move different windows in different places. But yeah, like I can do alt backslash to center the window, and Control Alt shrinks the window on here, and yeah. So an Alt Shift arrow key moves the window. So you have a lot of different options with the controls, and I'll show that where it is right here. But also Control and the number goes to the default workspace, and it doesn't move the tags. And a lot of people get confused by it, but a lot of people don't like it. But I'm getting used to it. I got small hands, so I would like to change it to something else, or change it to Shift or something, because it's hard for me to move. But I'll figure it out. But anyway, Super Shift up will switch the window like so. So and the Super G is toggle global. So an Alt tab is toggle overview. But yeah, that shows all the windows right there. So that's what that does with the toggle overview. And that toggle's floating like I showed. So we'll just do that again. Alt backslash to float, and Alt backslash again to put it back. And I can maximize the full screen right here by going Alt A. So I'm going through these because, some people want, to know, and that's how you get full screen without any borders. And sometimes that's helpful, especially if you really want to focus in on something. So Alt Shift F toggles the fake full screen. And Super I minimizes the windows. But, I'm sure I could get it back by stored minimum, yeah. So that's also an interesting feature. So the overlay is very interesting, because that's how that's how the colors change. But it's not functioning the way I want it to, but that's something I'm working on. But anyway, it's okay. It's all a learning process. And Alt Z toggles the scratch pad. if you have a scratch pad installed. I don't. I think so. But scroller layout, so Alt E and Alt X. So I can switch the preset if I want to. But yeah, so we're just going to be fine with that because I want to show this screen anyway. So switch layout. I can do a super N to switch the layout to something else. So I just have this on grid, on monocle. I forget what that's called right now. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. And then center tile, which is one of my favorites. And then you have the right tile. And then you have right. And then vertical grid. Vertical grid is what that is. And toggle grid. Tile grid. And we're going to have it back on scrolling. Because that's what I like. And anyway, yeah, the tag switch, so super left is view to left. And control left is the same. Similar, but it's the same as the super window key, basically. Or it's the same as control. So, but you could, switch it if you wanted to. If you wanted to, you could switch the tag to move client and control. I'm thinking about doing that. But I don't have to do it right now, but I'm thinking about it. But yeah. So maybe later on I'll do something. I don't know. I'm getting used to how everything is. Alt-Shift left is if I had a monitor, if I had it on the monitor, it'd be that's configured that I'd have to configure. Would switch over to that. And so yeah, Alt-Shift X increases gaps, and Z increases gaps. So, but there's also another way of doing it. And, Alt-Shift-R toggles the gaps. And, Control-Alt up. It's Control-Alt up and down, as well as Control-Shift or Alt-Shift, but Control-Alt, because I talked about that earlier, resizing windows. To resize certain windows a certain way. But anyway, yeah, and another thing I've tried working on are the tags right here, to show, since I got the numbers to show, but I can't get the tags to show. So that's another thing I'm working on with Mangowc. So super button left will move the window. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I don't know if it's the layout, but I can toggle it and then move. And I like mouse scroll. But yeah, now I can move the window. But anyway, let's put the window back. There we go. And that's what that's all about. But yeah, those are the mouse bind keys. So, axis bind, super up. No. So yeah, you have layer rule animation for, I have layer rule animation for fuzzle. And I have, Steam on floating class. But another thing is, I should say with this is, I had that enabled thinking that would fix, my problems with Steam. But they do not work. So I've tried it and it's still a work in progress, still working on it. So hopefully one day I can get that fixed. So, maybe one day Steam will work better, but Steam doesn't work very good on Mangowc. It jumps around, it cuts out, and my games don't work as they should. So with Mangowc, or Wayland Compositor, Mango Wayland Compositor, it's something you have to think about. And here's my startup. So I have my own waybar. I have my own custom waybar config. I'm going to switch to another workspace here. Let's close this out. And let's go to Cosmic Files, because that's my preferred file manager. And anyway, I'll go ahead and shrink the window down. Control-Alt to do that. It'll let me do it. Or Alt-Shift up to center the window, but yeah. Anyway. I got lost here. But now we're found, but anyway. Let's go. I lost my train of thought. My waybar config, and I'll show you what that looks like. That's what I want to show. So I know you can see it on the screen, but I just want to show what that looks like in the file manager, in case if someone has any questions or want to see what that looks like. But yeah, I think what I like about waybar is like I can just have my own configs with my own spaces. With the Noctilia shell, I'm not able to do that. But anyway, let's go back to here. But anyway, yeah, it shows where it is on here, but I just wanted to show what that looked like because, the text is small, so you're not always going to see everything. And, SwayBG works as it should for that. And I also had the Noctilia shell running in here, but it was just the same wallpaper and the same everything. So that's why I didn't, and I have dbus running to activate WL roots. That it shows it in the Arch Wiki, which is good. And then I have, the XGG desktop portal WL roots running in the background. I have tray running, tray equals true, and that's simple. And then the monitor I have is basically simple. I have a 1.5 scale on this. I can make it a 1.0 scale, which actually I think I will. Let's go ahead and change that to 1.0 here. Let's go ahead and save it. Let's see if it works automatically. Yes, it does. It's not much of a difference, but it does work automatically. And anyway, that's about it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been fun making this video. You know, there's a lot of different options that you have out there, but I think with Niri and with Mangowc Whaling Compositor, you know, I honestly give the edge to Niri. And I say that because, you know, a lot of things work better in Niri than they do Mangowc Whaling Compositor, but it's still tough because I really love the tiling options that you have with Mangowc Whaling Compositor, and I still use it. I use Niri also, and I really just love both of them. So, of course, I have a simpler bar here in Mangowc WC, but I really like the simpler bar. I don't like having too much stuff. And anyway, that is going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to subscribe to the channel, I'd love to have you. Have a good Sunday. See ya.
This has been a Dan Matheny production. Thanks for watching.